Deadly attacks rock northern Nigeria. Rebels storm Gaddafi compound as regime nears collapse. Eastern DR Congo war intensifies as M23 rebels advance. Rwanda-US tensions raise fears over Mozambique security. Sudan and South Sudan tensions risk new regional war. Economic shocks from global war drive up African cost of living. And that's the headlines for today. From all of us here at Top Accolade News, thank you for joining us. Stay informed, stay safe, and have a great day ahead. We'll be back with more updates shortly. Good day. Deadly attacks rock northern Nigeria. Nigeria is once again facing a wave of deadly violence as coordinated attacks across northern states leave dozens dead. Over the Easter weekend, gunmen struck communities in Benue, Borno, and Kaduna, killing at least 26 people, including civilians and security personnel. Eyewitnesses describe scenes of chaos, with homes burned and families fleeing for safety. In some areas, churches were reportedly targeted during services, raising concerns about religious tensions. Security forces have since been deployed to affected regions, with authorities promising to track down those responsible. As fear spreads, citizens are demanding answers and action to end the cycle of violence threatening lives and livelihoods across the region. Rebels storm Gaddafi compound as regime nears collapse. Rebel forces in Libya have made a dramatic breakthrough, storming the main compound of longtime leader Muammar Gaddafi in the capital, Tripoli. After days of intense fighting, opposition fighters pushed into al-Azizia, the heavily fortified stronghold that has symbolized Gaddafi's power for decades. Gunfire and explosions echoed through the city as rebels broke through defensive walls and clashed with loyalist troops. The advance comes amid the wider Libyan civil war, which has seen rebel groups gain ground with support from international forces. As the world watches closely, attention now turns to what comes next for Libya, and whether this marks the final chapter of Gaddafi's rule. Eastern DR Congo war intensifies as M23 rebels advance. In today's breaking development from Central Africa, fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo has escalated once again as clashes between government forces and the M23 rebel group intensify. In today's breaking development from Central Africa, fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo has escalated once again as clashes between government forces and the M23 rebel group intensify. The ongoing conflict, which has lasted for years, is now reaching a critical point as regional tensions continue to rise. Security experts say the violence is not only a local issue but a wider regional threat that could destabilize parts of Central Africa if not urgently contained. Rwanda-US tensions raise fears over Mozambique's security. A growing diplomatic dispute involving Rwanda and the United States is now raising serious concerns over security operations in southern Africa, particularly in Mozambique. Rwanda has reportedly threatened to scale back its military involvement in anti-terror operations in Mozambique following recent sanctions and political pressure from Washington. Rwanda has reportedly threatened to scale back its military involvement in anti-terror operations in Mozambique following recent sanctions and political pressure from Washington. The situation highlights how international politics is directly influencing security conditions on the ground in Africa's conflict zones. Sudan and South Sudan tensions risk new regional war. Concerns are rising once again in the Horn of Africa as instability spreads across Sudan and South Sudan, raising fears of a wider regional conflict. Concerns are rising once again in the Horn of Africa as instability spreads across Sudan and South Sudan, raising fears of a wider regional conflict. At the same time, South Sudan is experiencing renewed clashes in several regions, with reports of armed confrontations between government forces and opposition groups. Entire communities have been forced to flee as insecurity spreads. Humanitarian organizations warn that the combination of both crises could overwhelm aid efforts already stretched thin across the region. The situation remains highly fragile, with fears growing that the region could slide into one of its most serious crises in years. Economic shocks from global war drive up African cost of living. Across Africa, Economies are feeling the pressure of global instability as ongoing international conflicts continue to disrupt supply chains and energy markets. Countries across the continent are reporting rising fuel and food prices, driven by disruptions linked to wider geopolitical tensions affecting global oil routes and trade systems. Experts warn that this economic strain is indirectly fueling social tension in several African nations, as households struggle with higher living costs and reduced purchasing power. Experts warn that this economic strain is indirectly fueling social tension in several African nations, as households struggle with higher living costs and reduced purchasing power. The situation highlights how deeply interconnected global conflicts have become, with ripple effects now strongly felt across African economies and communities. And that's all we have for you today on Top Escalating News. From breaking headlines across Africa to major developments shaping the world, we remain committed to bringing you accurate, fast, and reliable updates every single time. Stay informed, stay ahead, and stay connected with us for more stories that matter.